Long time no see, right, guys? Missed you a little bit. Nah, I'm just kidding. I missed you a lot. Anyways, how's it going? Welcome to Monday's upload. Those of you that are probably wondering, hey, what happened to the Halloween tournament? I got knocked out in the semifinals. I had a really unfortunate set of circumstances happen. But, they actually said, hey, there's a third place match if you want to play it. My opponent contacted me for it. He's actually subscribed to me, as a matter of fact. Some of you might know him. I think he's also enrolled in the Steam Team tournament. So we're like, let's play for third place the other day. It was probably, one of the more straightforward and more comfortable matches I've had throughout the whole tournament. And I'll actually go ahead and play that back for you right now. Alright, so I'm using the same team. I know he subscribed to me, but I don't really want to change things up just based on that. I'm hoping that he won't, so, I see a Crobat, which is going to give me a lot of trouble, which means I have to keep my Rotom alive. Latias is pretty much just going to mean I need to keep Absol alive and play it carefully. But Crobat and Latias, the faster things are really the only major things I'm going to have to worry about. So, he leads off with Crobat because I had my Infernape in the lead slot because that's how I took it out of my box and put it back in my party. So I lead with Drapion, thinking that he's going to taunt me, so I can't set up the Toxic Spikes. It turns out he goes for a Brave Bird, and I know Drapion is a lot more naturally bulky, to let it, take a Brave Bird better than that, just a stock Brave Bird, with like Brave Bird and Taunt. But looking at that damage, I'm thinking he's banded, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right out to Rotom, hopefully go for the Volt Switch after that, maybe take this a little bit better than I'm thinking I will. But I take it absolutely horribly. Like, depending on min-max, this could be a 2-hit KO. He sees that I'm still in the green, and he doesn't want to risk that, so he's actually going to end up switching out. And he goes into his Jirachi right now, so I decided to go for the Volt Switch, just to get some damage and to get some switch initiative. I do a lot of Volt switching and U-turn chase. If you're watching this, you would be pretty proud of me. But, Rotom and Infernape just keep doing that, and I think that's what made it really easy on me. So I'm like, oh, Chase, that's probably why you enjoy doing that so much. But, I go out into my Infernape because I'm, planning on scaring him off. I don't know what kind of Jirachi is, but I'm thinking, hell, that'll probably work out nicely. So I decided to go for the U-turn because it's choice banded, and why not? He goes into Latias right now, which is a little bit of a mistake on his behalf. I thought the U-turn would have been a little bit obvious because, I didn't really know what Jirachi was going to want to do. I kind of wanted to scout out its set by going into Drapion and having it take a hit from it, depending on what it was going to do. And or, set up my Toxic Spikes. So, I go out into Drapion, thinking that he might go for the Recover or something, I don't really know. But he goes for the Draco right off the bat, which is a little scary, but it just means I don't get Toxic Spikes this game, which is a little unfortunate, but, I think I can still pull my weight from here. Now, I go for the Sucker Punch. I'm not going to be one, to fuck up like I did last time, and, useless crit is useless, but I managed to take out the Latias here. I don't want to overpredict and have him go for the Pursuit. I'll take him out while he's in here. So, I was also thinking that he might have been Specs, and, a -1 Draco Meteor would still deal a lot. But because this is triple stab for the Halloween tournament, I do not have superpower, and I meant to put superpower on it, and what turned out to be a really big accident, turned out really good, and then back into an accident because I don't have superpower for this thing. So, I gotta switch out into Infernape. Now, he's probably expecting me to go for the close combat. I do have another stab that threatens him in the form of Flare Blitz, and I was hoping he would take the bait, and he does, as he goes right into Crobat, and, the biggest threat to my team, or the biggest threat to Infernape, at least, is finally gone, so... he goes into Jellicent. I'm not going to want to take anything from it. I don't want to hit it with a Flare Blitz or anything. The best thing I have for this is definitely Roserade, because what I can do here is I have the Natural Cure if he wants to go for the Scald. It won't hurt that bad if I get burned. I can switch out and heal it. He turns out, just to go straight for the Will-O-Wisp. I'm going to go ahead and sub on the switch to see what he wants to go into. If he wanted to Gengar, that probably would have been pretty bad for me. But he goes out into Jirachi, and I still don't know what this Jirachi has, but, since I'm behind a sub, it'll let me gauge out to see what kind of set he is, and get a Leech Seed depending on what he wants to do. So he's going to U-turn because that doesn't really tell me whether or not he's actually Scarfed or not. I'm kind of thinking he is at this point, just because, I don't really see any other variant run U-turn. But I go for the Leech Seed, actually hit it on the Gengar. Now, Gengars I see a lot are, sub-disable, the occasional sub-3 attacks, and then sub-split. Point is that they carry Substitute a lot. So I'm glad to have gotten the Leech Seed on it before the actual substitute. I get a little bit of health back too, but it, just brings me back to where I was before since it restores just about the same amount. I want to stay in and, go for the Giga Drain. I really don't want him getting a sub up because the only thing I have to deal with it is Rotom Wash because it's Scarfed, and then I really have to take care of that even more carefully until it's gone. So he's taking a little bit of health. I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch to try to get some damage on this or anything. I don't want to go for the Hydro Pump just yet. I want to be prepared for what he decides to do immediately after. So, go for the Volt Switch, does decent damage to Jirachi. At least tells me, it's not specially defensive. So I'm going to go out into my Dusclops right now. Probably a little bit of a mistake, but I didn't really want to go out into Infernape. for whatever reason. I really couldn't tell you why. But he goes for the Iron Head, gets a critical hit and a, well, if he got the flinch, I would have been pissed too. But I'm noticing that a crit does less than half. Now this is important because this means that his Iron Head will always do below 25% of my health, meaning that it will not break my sub. And what that means for me is I can pain split here, figure out how much health he has, as well as get back a little bit myself. Now, I see that he has 108, which is not enough for a Nightshade kill. So, what I want to do is I want to sub up again here, predicting, you know, him to attack me again and have the sub break. Since the sub won't break on this one, I can pain split, bring him even lower, and then Nightshade him the instant that the substitute decides to break. So, now that I pain split, I see that he and me are at 74, you know, Nightshade doing set damage of 100. He will break my sub, but I will end up with the KO with Nightshade. So that works out. I mean, I hate that I had to misuse my Dustclops like this. It works a hell of a lot better with Toxic Spike support. But since Toxic Spikes are not set up, you know, you take what you can get. So, anyway, he goes into Gengar. He's going to set up a sub, predicting me to switch. I do not want any of that. If Gengar sets up a sub, it could very well be game over for me. I've seen that he's sub, and he's probably 3 attacks based on the Life Orb. Or, you know, he could be sub-split. I don't really know at this point. But he attacks me, that's fine. I wanted him to do that. I don't want him to have a sub, so Rotom can come in and knock him out with a Volt Switch, or, you know, do some damage on whatever else he has left with a Volt Switch. So, he decides to switch out. This is just giving me more switch initiative. I don't really care because I can do set damage on it or take it out. So, go for it. Hits Jellicent. I still do have an Absol, and I have a Infernape, which I'm not going to bring in on it. And I think Roserade got knocked out. So, I think it's my 3 versus his 3 right now. Go into my Absol, because, you know, I can still threaten it out. And I really wanted to predict him switching out here and go for the Pursuit. But if he, you know, decided to stay in and go for the Will-O-Wisp and I didn't knock him out that one, I would have looked like a damn fool. So, I just go for the safe Night Slash as he goes into his Bisharp, or Bisharp, however you want to pronounce it. And this thing gives me a lot of trouble, because, you know, he quad resists, you know, 3/4 of my moves, and then the last move that I have, you know, he happens to be immune to. I pack Psycho Cut because of the fighting types that were present in this tournament. So, I'm going to go out and do Infernape, and I have the U-turn or the Mach Punch I can go for. It really depends what he wants to do. I'm going to go for the Mach Punch right here, you know, in case he's one of those weird sub-T-Wave variants. And, you know, if he decides to go for the Sucker Punch for whatever reason, he'll also bypass the Sucker Punch as well. He does end up going for it, you know, Sucker Punch or T-Wave, either I would have been okay with. I needed status fodder at some point. So what right here, I make a little bit of a risky move, but I'm definitely predicting the switch out to Gengar, because Gengar is going to be faster than the Infernape. So I switch right back out into Rotom, either predicting the Sucker Punch or Gengar. I do predict correctly, and I'm going to nail the Gengar with a Volt Switch, which, if I'm not mistaken, will take it out, which gives him the switch advantage for once. But I don't care, because that Gengar's gone. This means I can actually dump my Choice Scarf on something and cripple one of his last 2 and prevent it from either recovering or substituting. You take your pick, whichever one I end up tricking it onto. So, I go out into my Infernape because I can, you know, U-turn on this thing, and if he wants to recover on the switch, fine. You know, if he wants to do whatever, fine. I actually end up going out into Rotom because I figure if I'm going to cripple something, it might as well be the thing without sub and the thing that has the recovery moves on it. He probably predicted my Absol to come in, and, you know, he went for the Surf. That's fine, you know, just wants to get some damage, whatever. I don't care. I'm going to leave a Choice Scarf on this thing. I know Jellicent isn't really too fast, so even if I am running a modest Rotom Wash, I still might be able to outspeed him immediately after, since, you know, he won't be running any Speed EVs because bulky, I would imagine. But his Surf is not doing enough, you know, to be a, what is that, a 2-3 hit KO, something like that. Anyway, the thing is it's kind of shaky, so I kind of stayed in here to see if the Volt Switch, or if I would be faster than him. If I was, then, you know, great, I almost end up taking him out. I was kind of banking on the fact that I would, but I don't, so this means my Absol's got to come in and, you know, just nail him. So, now, the problem here is that I didn't know he was going to be faster than Absol, but slower than Rotom. You know, he's in that weird, awkward speed range. It just ended up fucking me over, which is why I went for the Night Slash here, or the Pursuit. I forget which one I went for. I think I might have went for the Pursuit, predicting him to go out, go back in, and then try to recover up again, if that makes sense. But since I know he's at a really low amount of health, I figure a Hidden Power Fire will do the job in case he wants to switch out to Bisharp, you know, predicting something else. And I don't want to give him health back in case he has Water Absorb, and I don't want to get the switch advantage if I go for the Volt Switch. So, now he goes out into Bisharp, and since I still do have Rotom and I still have Infernape with a Mach Punch, I'm pretty sure this is going to be my game at this point. Assuming that this Hydro Pump kills. If it doesn't, then I do have priority. He does predict my switch out with Pursuit. That is going to take me out, but since I do still have the priority in the form of you know, Mach Punch, it's going to leave me with a very narrow 1-0. So I had a lot of fun, Jayboi. That Halloween tournament was fun in general. Heather actually ended up winning the tournament, you know, in whole, so congratulations to her. And, you know, that'll do it out of me for today's video, you know, just to wrap up this whole Halloween tournament kind of thing. If you guys enjoyed it, you're welcome to like, comment, subscribe, do your thing. And for those of you tournament type people, I am probably going to upload the brackets later tonight. I'm going to give you a little bit of an extension because I'm actually, you know, fairly busy today for some reason. But brackets are going to be up later tonight or tomorrow morning. I am going to give, you know, a little bit of an extension. And if you don't have your matches finished by, like, the time I upload tomorrow's video, then, you know, I'm just going to push them forward. So you have a little bit of hours, you know, to get this stuff done. Because I really want to get through this tournament and have it done before Christmas. So, anyways, I think that's everything I got to cover. I'll probably upload a Penumbra episode later tonight as well. And that should do it out of me, and I will see you guys tomorrow.